said you were free when they gave you a name, but they never showed you the rules of the game. Signed you in ink before you could speak, stamped on paper, then watched you sleep. You went to school, you stood in lines, learned to obey, thought it was fine. They gave you grades, but not your worth, and sold you debt to define your birth. You never asked to live like this, to shrink your truth, to fake your bliss. But somewhere deep, that voice still cries, there's more to me than what they hide. You were never free, they just told you that, but you ain't alone. I know where you're at. This world ain't broke, it's built to enslave. But some of us learn and some misbehave. So if you're quiet but your soul still screams, if you feel too deep, if you're fighting dreams, you ain't crazy, you're just real. And I know how that silence feels. Yeah, you watch them lie, we'll practice these. Watch justice rot while profits increase. You paid your tax, you kept your place, but the price was your time and your father's face. You watch your mother work through tears, watch men break down behind cold beers. You said I'm fine when you weren't okay, and wore the mask till it grew your face. But the truth don't leave when it's pushed away. Just wait for a louder day. And now it's rising slow but sure. If you're not asleep, you are the cure. You were never free, just trained to cope, but you ain't alone. I was hanging from the same rope. This pain we hide, it's a global script, but real ones crack and fraud get flipped. So if your chest gets tight when the world don't care, if you sat in the dark just gasping there, you ain't weak, you just feel deep. And that's what they've tried to delete. They can bind your hands, but not your soul. They can tax your land, but not your gold. They can cage your truth, but not your flame. And they can't erase what you became. You were born for more.